All right, we are live. Hello, everyone. My name is Nicole Christopherson. I am the soon-to-be author of God only knows how many books, and we are here tonight to do a write-in. I'm going to go ahead and have everyone introduce themselves. Court, if you wouldn't mind starting. Oh, she's having technical difficulties. Never mind. Ken, would you introduce yourself?
Yes, I am Kenneth Brooks, otherwise known as Servalos on Discord. I am currently attempting to finish up Templar Resonant. I am on the second to last of my climax chapters, and then after that I should start the resolution chapters in the epilogue.
Sounds fun.
Your turn.
Matt.
Yeah.
Oh, I am, like I just said, Nicole Christopherson. I'm working on King of the Castle, which is a really interesting little killing game. Single novel. It's not part of any series or anything. I plan on having it be its standalone. And the hope is to get it out before end of January, whether it's ready or not, because I want something out there already.
Yeah, usually we all do.
All right. Why is my camera so much worse than yours, Ken?
I don't know. I have the quality set pretty low on mine. Maybe my computer's just better at processing shitty quality.
Maybe. Okay, there we go. That's a little bit better. I just changed the quality of the stream up a little bit, so hopefully people will actually be able to see that I have a face instead of a blob with lips. All right, checking the Discord real quick just to see if anybody else is joining. Court says her headset and mic isn't working right. I went ahead and let her know that she can just jump in whenever she's ready. We've got one other person that I know of coming, Boo Booman, otherwise known as Brianna. Bree? Is she Bree or is she Brianna?
Brianna. Bree is one of the owners.
Bree is the other Bree. Okay. What we're going to go ahead and do is, since it's the 10 after, we're going to do a quick 10-minute sprint, and then we'll meet back here at the 20.
All right.
Mute. We're in the middle of a sprint. If you want to go ahead and mute yourself. Okay, and the sprint is over. Go ahead and unmute yourselves.
All right.
Court.
Let's save this.
Court, are you there?
Hello?
Oh,
Hello.
It actually works?
Yes, it does.
Oh, thank you. Thank God.
all right. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the viewers? That way you can get a little bit of exposure.
Okay, hold up. Uh, wow. This is unusual. Hi, I'm Courtney, and I write new adult and crime fiction type stuff. I don't know what else I can say. I'm not usually here.
Tell us a little bit about what you're working on right now.
Forensic science. I have wow, this is hard. A CSI investigator who wants to be a forensic scientist with a kidnapping story and a bunch of crime solving along the way. That
Sounds
about
fun.
sums it up.
In that case, then it's nice to meet you, Court, and welcome to the writing for the first time ever.
Thank you.
Right. So Liz, you mentioned something about having to save something. Explain.
Oh, I started a new chapter. So I'm on my final chapter of the final climax chapter. It's just setting up the scene.
So tell us about how you write, how you have it organized.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. You might have to get a little closer to your mic.
Oh, crap. Okay.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Better.
Okay. So tell everybody about a little bit about how you have your chapters organized.
Okay, I start a new document for every chapter. So that way, if I have a problem with a particular chapter, if I don't want to include it anymore, I can just take it out. It also eliminates some of those little pesky things like, oh, I have 2 chapter 21s, or I have no chapter 20s, or things like that, because I can always see that they're blatantly in there. Also, some people also get a little confused at the start of my chapter, right below the title of it. There's always a line that has where they're at and the date for it on there. And I leave that in there because there is a universal timeline that all of these chapters fit into. Because I write everything in one universe. So you can have multiple things going on in different novels at the same time, and there is the possibility of characters from multiple series running into each other. And so, in order to keep all of that straight, it helps both the reader and me, the reader looking for Easter eggs, and me as the writer, to have these little tags in there that say, like, oh, this group of characters is in Praia Santiago and Cape Verde on July 16th, 2039, at
So
the
you're
start of the chapter.
intentionally putting in Easter eggs for your audience.
Yeah, I've been doing that since the very first novel that I wrote. If you look in the epilogue of Templar Order and Chaos, when Lone Wolf is going back to the gravesite where he saw Serena's grave in there, someone else is buried there, and the grave is older because he's on an alternate timeline. And the grave that's in there is for one of the main characters of a novel that hasn't come out yet. So there are cross interactions in there that I have intentionally written in. So you have characters that run into each other in all sorts of interesting ways that you would never think to look for unless you read all of my books.
How about you, Court? Do you ever work in any Easter eggs for your audience?
I'm trying with what I'm doing, but I'm still a little too nude for that. I'm hopefully in the rewrite of the draft.
Probably a smart idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it either takes a lot of planning in the front or a lot of rework in the back in order to do that. So
Whereas I'm sitting here wondering if I have any Easter eggs in there that I accidentally did. Like in
those are
one,
the best.
oh yeah, in one book, I know I created an Easter egg because I named a horse Epona. And everybody knows what that's from, and if they don't, then it's interesting. It's just a little. For those who don't know, Epona is the name of Link's horse in Legend of Zelda. Where are your?
Does anyone have anything that they wrote this sprint that they want to share?
I have a first paragraph of the first chapter, or a fifth chapter. Ahem. Daphne was dead. She didn't come to breakfast, and a mad search for her led them to a pool filled with blood and a torn-apart corpse that hadn't been eaten. The orcas that Taib had turned off were back again, and Elise screamed and screamed and screamed. The sound echoed off the walls, combining with Theo's quiet sobs and Orion's muttered prayers to a moon goddess. That's what I got.
Cool.
Pretty good, I think. Courtney,
Take
you
it
got
on.
anything you want to share?
No, I came into that sprint a little late, so I don't really have much to actually read.
It doesn't have to be from the sprint.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be from the sprint. You can share just your favorite paragraph of what you've previously written. You could share something from a different work entirely. You could share a funny tweet that you read while you were supposed to be writing. Whatever you want to do.
I wish I had any of those. But no, I don't think I have anything that's worthy to be shared yet.
Okay.
I guess I can.
I know you do.
Yeah, I guess I can. So it's the start of the chapter. Chapter 38, Blackfire Island, Praia Santiago, Cabo Verde, July 16, 2039. The four of them walked down the road. Angela glanced up and noticed that the wind was starting to get worse. They wondered if Annika would have been able to keep her fedora on in this wind if she was still with them. Jenna glanced at Angela and asked, "Do you have any ideas on what we can do to stop the storm?" "I have something, but if we do it here, it will kill a lot of people. Messing with Blackfire is not something you do when there are a lot of people you care about." "What are you going to need?" Maya questioned in response. "I'm going to need something like an island with no one on it, in the path of the storm or under it. From there, I can use my magic to consume the energy of the storm. If I consume enough of the energy, the storm will reduce to the power of the storm, will reduce long enough for the storm to be degraded to what it was, or be a little weaker." "What if it doesn't work?" Robin questioned in response. "Then they did win," Angela stated. "Where are we going to find an island that has no one on it?" Maya questioned, and that's about where I got.
Sounds like high stakes.
It is. Like, they just defeated the rest of the shamans, which means they sealed away the powers of 2 of them, and the 3rd one is in the spirit world, and you know how I describe that one with Ezra.
I think I know.
That's the one where Angela used Fae Fire to open up a portal through Arcadia to the Spirit Society.
Oh yeah,
And then Maya pushed him through it.
that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it is 30 after. Do we want to run for a 15-minute or a 20-minute?
I'm go for 20.
Or
So am I. 20 is fine.
20 minutes then, and we'll meet back at the 50.
All right.
All right. Boom goes the cannon. Barbara really wants to know what I wrote. Because I make
Yes,
the
she
best
does.
banter at the worst times.
All right. So go ahead and share first.
Okay. Maya glanced around. I'm not the strongest telepath around here, but since the storm kicked it up a notch, I think we are clear to make our way off the island. Anyone have a boat? I can fly, Angela replied. I learned how to do that recently. Don't ask, but I can. She glanced to Maya. Since Robin no longer has the use of her powers since the magical EMP, and Jenna probably doesn't have a form that can fly in this wind, how much can you carry if you use your telekinesis to fly? What? Maya questioned in response. You're assuming I attempted to fly before, and you also assumed that I could be used as a magical pack mule. Which one are you offended by? Robin questioned in response. The fact that you could be related to Superwoman, or the fact that you are related to Superwoman? Considering that you used your telekinesis to pick up a grown man and throw him into a portal, Jenna replied, you should have enough power to hold yourself. The real question is, are you strong enough to lift the rest of us? I know I'm light. I understand you have problems with I understand if you have problems with Robin, since she does eat like it's going out of style. Hey, Robin hissed. Not all of us Lilithians believe in starving themselves and drinking just blood. Bickering aside, Angela stated in response, can you do it? Might I remind you that besides picking up people with my telekinesis, I was able to take down a rock golem with a sword made from light, deflecting lightning, and am the only other person here that showed your absolute defense isn't so absolute. Okay, we all know you're Native American, but could there be some Norse gods in your background as well? Robin questioned in response. There will be no living with her after this, Maya stated in response. You assumed that we'd be living together? Robin asked in response. Guys, time for serious. The world's going to hell in a handbasket. One simple question. Can you fly and make other people fly? Angela exclaimed.
Oh my
That was great. The side banter was hilarious. Courtney, do you have anything you want to share this time?
Let me see if I can pull something up from a different Word document from this work in progress.
Okay. In the meantime, I will share a little bit of the argument that I'm writing. Okay, so just to give a little bit of background, Orion is a hippie lady, and she just accused a 10-year-old of committing murder. Maybe think twice before accusing someone, Rami said. That accusation might be turned on you. At this point, none of us can trust each other. Perhaps we should simply wait until help arrives. If help would have already, Theo croaked around his tear-soaked throat. Don't give up hope, Orion turned to Theo, her vitriol forgotten in the rush to comfort the priest. Why shouldn't I? No one is coming, Theo insisted, his single hand swinging through the air in an arc like a guillotine blade. The water behind him flashed ominously, an orca fin rising out of the water. You could see through the fin when it wasn't in the water, and Elise had a delirious moment of wondering how they created the technology. Shut up, old man, Andros growled. The kid doesn't need to hear that. I agree, the 10-year-old said, snapping everyone's eyes to him. No one's coming. I think I win at creating creepy antagonists. Funny thing is, the kid is guilty of murder.
Okay.
We showed someone in the pool with the orcas, and the orcas did what orcas do.
Nom nom.
What?
Nom nom.
Yes,
Oh no!
out. Where is my stuff?
Oh, somebody posted on the Discord.
Just before I went on, there was a table at the side of the stage with all of the envelopes. So I'm thinking, okay,
Hello,
I'll
Nana.
nominate for Album of the Year or Record of the one of those. Okay. It's distracting to have that ahead
God,
of
I
me.
am so hungry.
I want to perform well. So why don't I just take a peek? I did. I opened it. Look, you still sitting there. Okay, great. Now I can concentrate on my job, which is actually to perform.
What I have is too dark.
Too dark. I just wrote about a 10-year-old committing murder, and you're too dark?
She's probably thinking about my little bit of banter in the middle of the climax.
No, I wrote a scene that involved the victim of a rape situation, so she's got bruises and whatnot all over her body, and it's like a little insane.
Gotcha.
Sounds like fun. Read it to us.
We're all adults right now.
That's true. Okay, trying to find. Can I share it with one of you guys? Read it?
Would you rather one of us read it?
Yeah.
Okay. PM it to me on Discord, and I'll read it for you.
Okay. Where is a good thing to hold up? I'll start with a piece of dialogue and send it from there.
Okay.
That's a little bit of I think I did it right.
Okay, here we go.
Then the countdown begins to the new show on January 28th.
For the first time in 15 years, the Recording Academy is bringing the Grammy Awards back to its New York City home, Madison Square Garden. That's when music to Sadie's night
Okay,
will
here we
add
go.
another big chapter to
Wherever
their
you feel
story.
comfortable. Ollie looked at me. Bathroom? I nodded. I adjusted my camera strap as I followed her down her small hallway and into her bathroom. I shut the door behind me. Can you lock it, please? Sure, anything that'll make you comfortable. Thanks. I turned towards her after I locked the door. She was stripping. Her baggy shirt hung on the shower rod. Her back was to me. Her pale skin had 3 black and blue bruises and an odd pattern down her back. It was visible through her thin hair. How could someone do such a thing? And then rape her? I took a deep breath and released it. I got my camera and turned away. It was the only thing keeping me sane. If I ever saw who did this, I'd kill them. I pulled them back on the zoom. Now what? I looked up from my camera and gasped. She was covered in bruises, a few cuts here and there. But let's start with your wrists. She showed me her wrists. They were raw and bloody. I raised my camera and took a picture. I zoomed it in before taking another. Okay, can you lift your chin to your right? She did what I asked. I took 2 pictures before moving on. You can lower your chin. I'm going to crouch in order to get photos of your thighs. I backed up and crouched. I angled my camera and snapped 3 photos. I turned and took 3 for the other side as well, then back up. Are we done? Almost. I need to take a few more of your back. She turned around. She looked over her shoulder as she pulled her messy blonde hair out of the way. I took the remaining photos fast. I took enough time to prevent taking blurry ones. I could tell she was about to unravel. I lowered my camera after the 6th photo. All done. Her shoulders slumped as she reached for her sweats. I looked up as she finished putting her clothes on. I wanted to give her some sort of privacy. That was intense. I liked it.
Thanks. It came from a bad dream.
I can tell.
Yep. Okay, I gotta swallow a handful of pills real quick.
News tonight at 10. Hopefully, the right parents will see this. A bunch of kids were caught on camera swiping money from a tip jar at a local business. Nanowrimo joins us now with details on this bad behavior. Mallory? Yeah, Chris, there were about 8 or 9 teens busting into the Silver Coffee Company and just acting like they own the place. Take a look at this.
Alright, sorry about that.
Every last dollar from the tip jar. This happened just last week, and I talked to the barista that lost those tips. She says it comes at the worst time of year.
All right, let's take a 10-minute bio break and then reconvene for another sprint, shall we?
Okay.
Sounds fun.
Last Friday night, a group of teens
I guess you're probably going to need me to read that little exchange now, huh?
Huh?
Oh, well, Nikki didn't come back on yet. Her and I were talking AFK about another chapter of mine during the climax of the book.
Oh.
Exist.
And I said she's going to probably need me to read that chapter now,
You can if you want to.
the first part of it. You want me to read it right now?
Yes, yes.
Your wife says yes, so
Showing clear skies. We see spring hot pressure with a dominant feature in the forecast. We'll wake up to this. Plenty of sunshine and clear conditions throughout the afternoon.
All right.
And look at it, a little warmer. We're at top out of around 87 degrees.
Let me see if I can find it.
Dropping into the 70s starting on Tuesday.
All right, thank you, Paul. It is 10:10, and you have what you need for the weekend. But coming up, we're taking a look at two studies.
how cool is that?
Really getting a
Oh, wow.
those warehouse doors, and the other, how different types of alcohol affect the body differently. Find out which one makes more people angry. Stay with us. The CBS 5 News is coming right back.
Did I hand
Oh.
print?
Yep.
He decided to take the direct approach and used a wind spell to break the door open. With one directed gust, the door was blown off of its hinges. He didn't expect to find 2 women and 4 small children inside. He could feel one of them try to get into his mind right away. He didn't understand why the redhead had such a hard time finding him. The one with brown hair and a cabbie hat ushered the children into one of the rooms and closed the door before locking herself on his side of it. Her brown eyes showed defiance and anger. He directed another gust of wind at the redheaded telepath, which threw her through one of the doors and into the room and knocked her out. He directed his attention at the other woman. Do nothing, and you and the children will be okay. Do something stupid, and I can't guarantee your safety. You mean like this? She hissed and thrust her arms forward. He found himself hit by a burst of kinetic energy, the likes of which he had never felt before. It knocked him through the broken doorway and back out into the rain. It felt like he was hit with an explosion and coughed up blood right before he hit the ground and slid through the parking lot. Break scene just to let the reader know that we have now switched minds. With her empathic power, she could feel that Scarlet would be okay long enough for her to take care of the intruder. Serena needed to protect the children. Using her borrowed power, she marched forward to finish the intruder. He staggered to his feet and directed a gust of wind at her. She held her hand out and canceled out the wind of energy by converting it into potential energy. She wasn't sure how she knew psychokinesis worked, but with the borrowed seal energy came the knowledge of the ability. She thrust forward again with her arms, and he threw up a barrier to protect himself. She could feel the null energy in the barrier and waved her hand. The barrier washed away in an instant. She thrust her other arm forward, and the man went flying through the air and hit the wall of the other cabin hard enough to leave a dent large enough to hold him in place. He coughed up more blood in the attack. His eyes looked glassy, showing how dazed he was from the attack. I want to hold this man with my mind, Serena thought. She could feel the telekinetic power a moment later. She reached out with her right hand, and the man moved from the wall and hovered in the air. He weakly grabbed for his neck and felt like he was being strangled by an invisible hand. You dare threaten my children? She exclaimed in a bitter rage. How dare you? From the doorway, the twins had come to the door to see the commotion outside. Alan and Amber crawled behind them. Wow, Mama's a superhero, Alice commented. Mama is magic, April nodded. Ma tapa, Alan babbled. Sa tapa, Amber interjected her own babble. Lone Wolf arrived to see the end of the scene, the man hovering in the air, nearly out of breath. Serena, he called out. Don't kill him. If you do, you'll only hurt yourself in the end. She sighed and released her hold on him as she dropped her arm. He dropped to his knees and coughed. He was about to reach up when Lone Wolf summoned his sword and touched his neck. The center of the hilt opened up and the black gem inside lit up with a seal, blocking his magic away. A moment later, the man's seal lit up red. Daddy's a superhero too, Alice commented. Daddy made a sword, April commented. Dad Tapa, Alan muttered. Da? Amber looked confused. Well, so much for the kids not knowing, Lone Wolf sighed. As he dropped his sword, it turned to glass and shattered into nothing. The man rose and made a motion with his hand, but nothing happened. Serena glanced at her husband and asked, Are you sure about the not killing thing? I never said anything about kicking his butt, Lone Wolf stated. Serena smiled and drew back for a kick. She launched her right leg up and smashed her foot into the man's crotch hard enough to lift the man off the ground. She next uppercut the man with her left hand as he came down, which knocked him out cold on the parking lot. Lone Wolf chuckled and shook his head. His nuts won't redescend until after Alan's do. He glanced back to the doorway. Now let's go tell the kids why we don't do that and see what we can do about Scarlet in the cabin.
It might not be the deal you think. We are crunching the numbers when it
It was a
comes
lot
to
funnier when you
shopping
told
at
it to me.
stores for talking things like
I
Costco.
think probably because you were laughing all the way through it.
You actually spend more
It's
money
kind of hard to
than if you shop
read and laugh at the same time, though.
5% more to be exact. The bad news every stop you had, you also could
True.
assume 8% more.
That, and no matter what, I always trip over writing when I read it, even if it's my own.
Averages and actually save some money. Experts say you should plan your trip carefully. Avoid making more frequent visits in an attempt to justify the annual membership fee, and avoid those impulse purchases that stick to what you know you need. And news tonight, researchers say that different types of alcohol affect our emotions differently. For instance, researchers revealed that people drinking spirits like gin or vodka reported being more aggressive than
Do you
beer
have
and wine
anything else
drinkers.
you want to share?
While wine drinkers are more relaxed and tired. Researchers surveyed 30,000 people. They say more studies are needed, but the report could provide insight into people's drinking habits.
I bored someone to sleep.
That's not true.
I asked if you had anything that you wanted to share.
No, not this time.
Okay, in that case then, let's go ahead and do a sprint from now until maybe 40 after.
Okay.
Okay. It is the 40 after. I think that's when we were supposed to drop the thing. Not sure. I kind of fell asleep halfway through, so
All right.
yeah. Alright. Anybody want to give us a total of how many words they've gotten on this whole thing?
No.
Come on, kill my will to write.
No. I'm done shattering souls.
I got 700.
I know too many ways.
Oh, wow.
Total, not like in this last sprint. No, dear God. No, total from the beginning of this.
Writing?
Yeah.
So do we say the total from the writing or from the sprint?
From the writing. From
Okay, hold up. I will send mine once I find the beginning.
I look forward to it.
Take advantage of a semi-automatic gun's natural recoil, allowing it to bounce back and forth like a shooter's trigger finger and unleash up to 100 rounds in 7 seconds. It's great for hunting. It just 7 seconds to kill every animal in the forest.
I got 500 words.
Right now, it's a different Bambi.
Nice.
Right now, these devices are totally legal because according to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, a pump stop is a firearm part,
All right.
and therefore
Well, since I am quite literally falling asleep, I am going to go ahead and call it. And as always, if you want to, you can do an after party in the voice chat over on Discord. In the meantime, go ahead and say your goodbyes, and we shall call it a night.
All right. Well, have fun.
Oh, I shall be sleeping and shall have tons of fun. All right. Sweet dreams, everyone.
Good night.